I got a question now. So this is what I'm thinking in my head as we're going through this and everything. So, you know, there's been a lot of like talk in the community and everything. And like, there's like two sides, there's one side that everybody wants to pay for everything and services and all. And there's another side that's like completely against, spending any extra money and all. So a lot of people are saying that a lot of the industry are just, they're like kind of like vulturing people, they're going after the new people, they're not really qualified and they're coming off as gurus. And, a lot of things that I'm hearing them teach and all, now that I'm learning the industry, I'm realizing like they're guiding people in the wrong ways in a lot of things. I don't know if they mean to do it or if they just don't have the knowledge, but, I'm not going to mention names, but I've learned the hard way as well. There's a couple of times I've spent a couple of $1,000 because I followed gurus that told me this is the right way to do. I took it for real, implemented it, found out the hard way, had to go and correct it. So I kind of got salty with that. And that's when I made this show. And the whole point of this show, we got a little feedback. Does anybody know? Let me just mute everybody for a second and see where that's coming from. Okay, so I'm trying to find out what's true, what's not, who's real, who's not. Now there was like a big situation this week. I see that like Matt Fitch has, disappeared, or I don't know really what's going on, but I know there's a lot of people out of money, and now people are talking about how much money they were paying him, and people are saying that he wasn't qualified and all that. So I'm just listening to you talk and everything, and I'm like, all right, how is he no junk removal? What made him get into it? And then, you tell your story and all. And I'm like, it doesn't even sound like you did junk removal. It's like almost like under a year. And it's like, would kind of like if I kind of started going and teaching people things, and I'm really not qualified there because I don't know it. So then you're like kind of telling us, well, you just figured out marketing because you got burnt 5 times and you started like learning from there. And then you got handed 10 clients. And I'm just like, oh my God, do these clients know that are paying you, that you're brand new? You never really did junk removal. And now like they're paying you monthly. You know what I mean? It's like, so I'm trying to figure out how come you're so qualified at this? Like, what is telling you? Because you don't keep track of your numbers. There's, you don't know what you make and all that. The numbers that you do say would just sound ridiculous. It doesn't even make sense. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to figure out, like, why are you qualified, bro? Let me unmute you. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
there we go. Well, so I'm not jumping on this show to sell anybody on anything. Um, so listen, I'm kind of confused. I got to be honest. Where am I? Where am I claiming to be this? How does my junk removal business relate to my marketing business? Like, so because you're implying that if I didn't build a junk removal business and go on YouTube and lie to everybody about my numbers, like most YouTubers do, that means I can't build you a better Google Ads campaign than most marketing agencies that you're going to hire.
Well, you see, the thing that I'm just having a problem with, man, because I brought you on here, and I honestly, I thought, from what I was seeing in the groups, I'm like, oh, this guy really knows his stuff and all, and
Sure.
I'm waiting to get wowed here, and it's kind of like I feel like I know more than you in junk removal, and I'm just like, okay, so let's see. I guess it's the marketing, because it's this would work with any home business. So if you're just a good marketer, you got it. But then, like things that you're saying to me, I'm just not seeing the expert level, bro. And it's just like a lot of people are just feeling like we're getting ripped off by a lot of people. And I'm just curious, like when you market to these people, are you letting them know that like I'm only a year in and I'm just kind of learning myself? I got messed 5 times, and that's why I decided to
I'm
come and do
confused. I'm
this.
confused. I'm confused.
Well,
Well,
okay.
so
So do you have
I've
results,
worked
brother,
with
that would
I've
make this
worked
all right? Like,
I've worked with close to 200 businesses, and I can verify that. I've managed millions of dollars in ad spend. That's where my expertise comes from with Google Ads. So I
okay,
can
so what
happily
is what is the returns that you're producing for them? That's what I'm curious about.
depends significantly, man, on the business.
So give
It
me an
depends
average
significantly.
basis, man. So like, is it
Three
like
to four
on the
times
average out of
return on
those
investment.
200 guys, you're seeing like a 4x or 5x? Like, just
Yeah.
kind of
So we
give us.
don't. Sure. So I rely on clients, for keeping track of revenue. We don't really track revenue. I mean, it's kind of on the client's end. We don't, I mean, everybody uses a different booking software. So like in order for us to automatically track revenue, like a lot of my customers don't even, I have some customers that don't even use anything. Right. And then certain things like House Call Pro. So for us to be able to track revenue like automatically for a client, we have to be able to tie into their CRM. And for here's a good example for House Call Pro, you have to be on the top tier package. So now they have to pay like $300-400 a month or whatever it is for us to be able to have API access, and then we can look and see this call came from Google Ads. We closed a job for this person. It checks for the phone number, the email address. So we don't really. I rely on clients just telling me what their numbers are on a case by case basis. So we do not retract returns for clients automatically. Um, Now, so I could just tell you from experience that what we have found with most of our clients is a 4 times return on investment is a good ROI. Now, we we can absolutely get a much higher return on investment too, but now you're talking about landing really big jobs that significantly offset your return on investment. Like an average scenario. So let's just take an average number. I never like to give people best case scenario, but let's say that our cost per lead on Google is $50. Okay. And on average, you close 1 out of 3 calls, around 33%. $50 is a little bit high, but again, I'm trying to give you just a basic flat number. So in an average scenario, most of our clients are going to be around a $400 average job sale. Placed in California, I have a client in LA that's like $950. But for the most part, $400 return on investment. You're paying about 100, $450. You're paying $50 a lead. You close 1 out of 3. They're spending 150 to make 450, so about a 3 times return on investment, right? So now and then there's going to be a lot of cases where you get leads for sub $40 in the $30 range. And again, like I said, I really do think closing 1 out of 3 is what most junk removal companies do. So um, now this is not something that also we don't necessarily automatically track. So I'll tell you exactly what I've done. I've spent a lot of time working with individual clients without. I don't charge people. I don't nitpick. I don't pinch pennies. I'm all about the result. So I have sat down, and I have clients that can testify to this. We'll just go back and listen. I'll sit and I'll listen to like 20 of their phone calls, and I'll send them a report, and I'll say, look, so we got 20 phone calls. Uh, Here's a spreadsheet. Did we answer the call? YN, yes or no? Did they book? Did they not book? Okay, so I've done this a bajillion times, but I'm just considering an average book rate to be based on my experience doing that multiple times over the years. 33% is what we shoot for, and then clients will report their book rate to me too. It's pretty rare that we see 50, 60, 70% book rates once you factor in there are a lot of things that are uncontrollable in a sense. For example, like if you don't have availability, right? If you get a call on a Friday at 4 p.m. and they say, "Oh, can you be here in an hour?" It's a ridiculous expectation, and you're not going to close those people most of the time, right? So that's why I think that most companies don't book 60, 70% of their calls. But um, an average scenario, if you're getting leads for $50, you close 1 out of 3. You're spending $150 for a paying customer with an average job sale of 450, around 3 times return on investment. Get our cost per lead down, to where we're getting $100 cost per acquisition, which is very realistic. And you have an average job sale of $450, 4 times return on investment. I'm doing my best here to give you an average rundown.
I got you, bro. I got you. What do you guys think, Mr. Yee? What's your whole thoughts with Google Ads and all that? And have you ever messed with them? I know you've been in junk removal 5 years and all. Have you ever experience with that?
No, I don't really participate in Google Ads at this time. I just feel that, people need to learn trials and errors, and before you get into paying for leads, you should be well seasoned and know what works for you. And it's the people who jump into these ad campaigns and try things without doing the hard work that junk removal takes, because junk removal takes a lot of hard work, and there's a lot of people out here who don't want to do the hard work. And that's just the point. You're going to pay, and it's just there's a certain time when maybe junk removal, what I mean, ads are needed when you want to scale. And I think that your business will tell you when it's time.
Let me
And
ask you, Mr. Yee, when is that, bro? Like, when do you think is that time? Is it something that you should even be talking about in the first year or two, like a guy like me, or do I focus on organic? Do I do it both? Like, what's the answer with that?
I think honestly, you shouldn't uh junk removal. I mean, Google Ads should be the last thing you should jump on,
Why?
because you're gonna if you want to scale, you're gonna have to reach a bigger audience, and you should learn, you should work hard and build an audience. Then when you want to scale, then you start to cover all angles. But if you jump head first into the pool and don't even know how deep it is, you're headed for self-destruction, as I see with yourself. You're less than 2 years in junk removal and you're already belly up, and it's just because you didn't put the hard work in. You
Yeah.
hated junk removal, so therefore you went to the marketing. Just like with other people who have started other things, you know what I mean? And I'll say it, Andrew Autopilot, he mentioned he hated junk removal too, but he doesn't do junk removal. He does autopilot, which is, helping a lot of people out with CRM. But you know what I mean? I think he put the hard work in, and that's what it takes. So he kind of knows junk removal. And when I see a guy like you, I think you don't know anything about junk removal. I think that you know the market. You know that
Well,
there's a
that's what I'm
sucker.
here to talk about. I don't know
Yeah,
where I claimed to any of you guys that I was some junk removal guru that owns a junk removal business that does 5 million a year.
because I think well, if you go to the junk expo, you'll see people who make that. But I think people are going to say, how could you be into a marketing campaign when you don't love junk removal and you really don't
That's
really know
ridiculous.
about junk
The
removal?
argument you
No,
guys are
see,
trying to use,
I don't agree with that, Mr.
the
E.
art,
I agree with Josh with that. Where if you figure out marketing, that works, in any home business, and it will be able to apply. The thing that I'm just not sold on yet is, how did Josh learn marketing so quick that he can go and show
yeah. Well, let
others
me
when
let
there's
me give you an answer to that.
okay.
So,
Well, I
in my
asked you
opinion,
that. I
go ahead.
asked you that. I
Yeah,
asked you
but you
that
keep
earlier.
both of you guys keep reverting back to this. I'm not sold on you because you're junk removal, dude. I don't fucking care if you believe me or not. I don't.
Because I'm
I'm
waiting to
invited
hear
on
you
this. I'm
produce
invited
results,
on this
bro.
show.
But bro,
Hey,
Josh,
let's talk
I'm
about
asking
Google Ads. Let's talk
Josh, let
about
me
Google Ads.
let me talk, bro. If you're gonna say that, let me explain why, bro. Because I asked you how much you made the first year. You told me
Mhm.
240,000 you grossed, and then you kept 40,000. That does not make sense to me. And then you told me that you don't do junk removal. After that, you went to marketing because you got screwed over 5 times and you were getting tired of screwing 5 times. So you went and started teaching how to do it. So
No, no,
that's
no,
where I'm saying,
no.
okay, bro, when
That's
did you
not
show
okay.
some results that you should be coaching or
I
teaching
started doing
anybody?
it for myself. I specifically said this. So while I was running my junk removal business, I started spending my own money on ads. I started buying courses. I learned how to do it before I started taking money from anybody to do anything. So, and because we naturally just got such great results, people started referring me in the groups and stuff. So I'm not claiming, I never have claimed to be this junk removal expert, and I'll show you how to build a $5 million a year junk removal business. I chose to focus on Google search ads. Okay. And the vast majority of my clients have been junk removal, dumpster rental, and demolition companies. And we get better results than some of the biggest agencies that you can hire. I could name drop all of them, but I'm not going
Well,
to.
we don't need to know the names. What I keep asking, I'm trying to get, and we keep getting around about is what are the average results these guys are getting, that's making them stay with you. That's all we're asking, brother.
Yeah,
I'm
see,
not
but
trying
that's
to
what
like,
I'm
I'm
that's
not
but
trying to
that's
like throw you under the bus or say you're not
See, but that's
qualified, but I'm
that's 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 the point that I'm trying to get at. Most marketers, there's a lot of marketers that will sell people things they don't need. Okay, so let's be clear on that. So, like for example, okay, there's a lot of when we talk about marketing, it's such a broad thing. It's no secret to me that people hate marketers. It's no secret. But when we talk about, I got burned by this guy, I got burned by that guy, for what? Did you buy a website off of somebody? Did you give somebody $1,000 to build you a website that didn't generate any leads? Well, I could have told you that would happen as a brand new business, right? So, like, there's so many different things we could talk about with marketing. And I don't think I've given you the runaround whatsoever. I have years of experience doing this. I've worked with close to 200 businesses, the vast 160 something and some change, whatever. The vast majority of them have been junk removal and dumpster rental businesses. Most of my clients have hired numerous agencies in the past, and they've stayed with me. So that should say something about the work that I do. And unlike a lot of these other marketers, I care about the fucking results. So that's my background. I mean, I'm sorry if you want me to tell you that I grew this $2 million junk removal
No,
business
but
and learn
Josh,
from me and do everything that
all
I
I
say.
keep,
I'm not going to
but
do that.
Josh,
I've never done
Josh,
that.
what I'm trying to figure out, man, and this is I'm looking at it from my standpoint, bro. I'm saying in my head, if I came to you with $10,000 right now to start my Google ads and everything, when would I get to see the results, and what results would I expect?
Well, that's a different question. So generally speaking, a good performing Google Ads campaign, we're going to achieve a 10% click-through rate. That's kind of what we shoot for. And a lot of times we're able to get, we shoot for 25% conversion rate. Okay. So if you were to ask me, well, if I give you this budget, how many leads do you think I can give you? I can give you a direct answer by looking at Google's keyword planner. I can give you a direct answer, but I don't feel like you've asked me a direct question. This is where other marketers do. They'll get on here. They'll tell you on average, our clients do this X, Y, and Z and make this much money. I try not to do that. Okay. If somebody asks me, how much money am I going to make? I'm going to give them a layout and explain the different things that can affect how much money you can make. The truth of the matter is, whether you want to hear it or not, you are responsible for your return on investment. All I can do is give you a growth platform to help build on your foundation. I cannot promise you you're going to make a 7 times return on investment on average. I told you that an average return on investment, we would consider to be 4 times return on investment to be a good, which is average, but I don't mean average like it's not good. I mean, that's what most guys get.
So like within the first 30 days, like,
within the first day or two. I think it's a myth when people say that Google Ads takes 3 months to get working. Our clients start getting calls in a day or two. I literally build people's campaigns. I purchase tracking numbers. I build a landing page. I purchase Click Fraud Defender. I set everything up for free for 30 days. So we're able to get results. Now, I will tell people in full transparency, there's a lot of things it does, because Google Ads is all about analyzing data. That's what it's really all about, is analyzing data. So naturally, when we first start out, it's not going to be a home run like it's ever going to be. But we start getting calls within 1 to 2 days. We've never built a Google Ads campaign that didn't generate results almost immediately. Now, when people talk about it takes time, well, it could take time to go from $55 a lead to $45 a lead, to go from $45 a lead to go, to $40 a lead. We have to figure out what days of the week convert best for you. What hours of the day are better converting for your campaign? Or is a woman on a Tuesday between the hours of 3 and 5 p.m. more likely to convert than a middle-aged male on a Saturday at 12 p.m. for example? I'm just giving you bare examples. Like just
how many?
so that's what we're trying to figure out.
Carson wants to know, Josh, how many active clients do you have?
75.
Wow, that's pretty impressive, man.
So Josh, what are the costs? Are you taking a percentage of the Google ad spend?
No, I charge $400 flat fee. I don't punish people for wanting to spend more money. Now, there are certain. Here's something that's important to understand. I don't white label. Okay, a lot of marketers white label. So what that means is that we're taking your money, and somebody in the Philippines is doing it for $2 an hour, and they're charging you $800 a month. And the person that's actually working on your ads has no idea what they're doing. I am building your ads. Me. Every customer I have ever had, I am the one building their campaign. I am the one building your landing pages. Now, I have a twin brother that works for me full time. He helps me with certain things, but he's not a shot caller on any, So, but we don't outsource anything. Okay. So I think that to answer your question, why so many marketers get a bad rep, but Josh is all of a sudden the holy grail. I don't sell this as a silver bullet. I don't sell this as a holy grail. I spend more time trying to talk people out of it than talking them into it. I think Google Ads is such an underrated tool. It's so
And
powerful, and I
they say
understand.
this right here, local junkers. That's John Aguirre. He says Google Ads works, 8K profit after ads spent this month.
Is that
And then
he's in
Abel says up here, he says anyone can learn. I took a 7K SEO course that most of the big SEO guy took. It's not rocket science. You need someone who has a passion for marketing and someone who has integrity. And I just
So
want to let everybody know, I got to say this before you go, Mr. Yee. The reason why I saw Josh, man, was just because so many people in Facebook groups were saying how great his work was. So I don't want this to come across as, like we're discrediting him or anything. We're just asking those hard questions that a lot of people in the community want to bring up to these guys in marketing. It's nothing personal against Josh, but I just got to make that clear. The reason why he's on here is because there was so many people that were saying that when he handles their Google ads, they're doing very well.
and hopefully, Josh, this brings you a lot more business. So that's why we're asking these questions.
I'm
But
going to be
well,
hitting you up straight
so
up.
there you go.